Alright, let me start off by saying I like Asmondgold and agree with a lot of what he says on things, but I want to make a reaction to this video because I have a strong opinion about stuff like this, and I think I should put it out there.
There's been a lot of conversation for I'd say the past 6 months or 1 year or so. And it's been about how these mod websites, they're playing this editor role where they constantly focus on trying to moderate which mods are acceptable and which mods are not acceptable.
I've seen this before, on the Nexus mod. I know this is the most egregious website or whatnot. And I don't really agree with the censorship that they're doing. I'm pretty sure he says that here.
This has been a really big problem, in my opinion, because these moderation websites have kind of arbitrary rules. Nexus Mods is the worst offender. So I'll explain what this is here. So Nexus Mods banned a harmless mod that deleted the modern audience triggering message in Tomb Raider 1-3 Remaster. Keep in mind that no Latin American really cared about this message or the game depiction. It was all in a virtual setting. So I'm going to go ahead and look at it. And remove misinformative warning. And this game is a collection of offensive depictions of people and cultures rooted in racial and ethnic prejudices. These stereotypes are deeply harmful and inexcusable and do not align with our values at Crystal Dynamics. Rather than removing this content, we've chosen to present it here in its original form, unaltered, in the hopes that we may acknowledge its harmful impact and learn from it. So basically, somebody installed a mod in order to remove this, and Nexus Mods removed that mod. This is what I think. I think that a lot of the characters in Genshin Impact look like teenagers. And I think the majority of them look like teenagers that are underage, too.
I do agree with what he's saying here, that the character models for Genshin Impact may look like teens and may even look underage, especially some of the chibi characters that they have. But even that being said, it's all fiction, not real. I don't think that you should treat them as if they are real, it's fake, so.
Like a 15-year-old. I think a lot of them do. It's pretty common. So whenever I see somebody removing a mod, what do you call it? A message for a trigger warning, basically. What that does is that creates kind of that's a line, right? That clearly, that's what's over the line for them. So what they're saying then is that it's okay to portray characters that look like minors in ways that are sexual, but it's not okay to have this. I think that's a problem.
I think I do agree with him here that if you're going to draw a line, it should be a line that's morally right for well, morals are subjective and all that, but that's why I just think that you should have the user censorship, what they deem to be acceptable, and that way there can be no complaints, right? Because if you don't like it, you don't have to look at it. You don't have to see it. You don't have to download it. And you can just move on with your life, And especially for Genshin Impact, which is basically a single-player game.
I do. I really think that's weird. Nexus Mods don't do that. Oh, of course they do. Absolutely they do. What are you talking about? Isn't Nexus Mods the same mods for Final Fantasy to be NSFW? Oh, yeah. Nexus Mods does block nude mods for Hogwarts Legacy because of the age thing. Oh, sure, but they have other things that allow people to sexualize minor characters. Which, I'm sorry, it's I think that's pretty fucking weird.
Okay, I can agree with him with that. Yeah, it can be weird. You can view it as weird, you can view it as whatever, but, just content not made for you as an individual. I'm okay with content existing that's not made for me. And I will still fight for a platform for those type of people if it does not harm anybody in the making of that type of content, especially if it's viewed negatively. It can be viewed negatively, that's fine. It can be, for a small group of people. As long as no one's getting hurt and it's all fake, then who cares?
And a lot of these modding websites, because that's one of the biggest reasons why people download mods, is that they're picking and choosing as to whether, what they think is okay and what they think isn't okay. I think this is incredibly fucking annoying to me, that these mod websites are trying to pick and choose and decide which things meet their expectations. And I think they're stupid for making the decision. I think they're making the wrong decisions. Now, they clearly can do whatever they want to do. I'm not debating whether they can do it or not. Of course they can do it. But I can also have an opinion on what they're doing. Would you say?
Yes, I agree with this as well. Like my websites, of course, will do what they deem fit because it's their website. But if I had the means to, I would just make it to where there is no like censorship on these websites like at all, and it would be all for the user. Like if you want to turn off not being able to see this type of content, you could, and then that would be the end of it. You know, then you wouldn't have to worry about it. It's a button that you switch on and off for your particular profile. Then that's all she wrote.
I think that you should allow all mods except for the ones that sexualize minor characters.
I think you should allow all mods except for the ones that may damage or harm your PC and using that. Like any mods that are harmful to the users and their PC and their hardware and things like that should be banned. That should be censored. Other than that, then it's all fair game to me.
I do draw the line there. I'm going to be honest, I do. And I know some people might be unhappy about that. But I that's the line. Racist mods? People can be racist all they want. Do you think that racism is on the same level as sexualizing minors? Because I don't think it is.
If we're talking about in terms of a game, I think it is because, yeah, being racist in a game, being sexualizing minors in a game, it's all fake. It doesn't really matter, especially if you're not harming anybody in the process. Like if you're being racist in a multiplayer game, then yeah, you're actually like doing something to another person. That's a different conversation. But if we're talking about all single player games and like, oh, there's a racist mod on it, then hey, just don't download it and problem solved.
I don't even think it's remotely close. I can't imagine thinking that it is. They don't allow nude mods for minors though? Well, it's sexualizing the character, right? I mean, like, I'm talking about sexualizing the character is just because it's not a nude mod doesn't mean that it's not sexualizing the character. It's just, like, what are we talking about here? It's 60-40. They definitely, yeah, I mean, come on, guys, I get it. It's like, this is also, I want to make sure this is very clear, that this is not an actual opinion that people have. And this isn't a distinction that people really have in real life. If somebody was asking a 12-year-old girl to dress like this in real life, you would want them put in jail, right? I mean, like, if they were asking your daughter to dress like this, you would want them put in jail.
I don't think it's fair to compare a mod made by a game to real life because it's fake. You can kill people in a game. There are mods where you can kill people. Of course, if you killed someone in real life, then you would be upset they should go to jail. Absolutely. Because this is real life. This is real people being harmed. But in the game, this is not real. No one is being harmed. Who cares? I don't get the logic here.
So anybody saying that this not that big of a deal, if you actually apply this logic to real life, it immediately falls apart. This is
like everything in like video games, period. If you apply to real life, it falls apart. Killing people, sexualizing children, quote unquote, freaking stealing. If you apply any of this to real life, it falls apart. But this is not real life. So I don't get what he's saying here. Maybe I'm missing something.
This is internet logic. It's not real. Because in real life, everybody knows this is fucking creepy, weird, and disgusting. But for some reason, people like to pretend and act stupid whenever it's not like that on here.
Because it's not real. It's not acting stupid. Like, oh, I feel like this is the same argument that's been made when people said video games make people violent because you can kill people in GTA and stuff. That like they're like the idea that there are real life like consequences for things you do in games. It's like weird to me. Like it's all fake. Why are we trying to apply real life logic to video games? They're video games, bro. It's not that serious.
And so they did remove this. They said that the mod violated our rules on indecent content because the character is known to be a minor. See specific rule in red. In the author's own words, this mod changes Yuki's body to make her more corpulent. Yeah, and so I do generally agree with this. I think this is the right call to make. They did make the kid waifus. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly, but I think it's a bit much. It's fucking crazy that people have to be told this in the gaming community. Yukari is a minor. I have no idea if it is or not. It's their site, their rules. So it's okay to post Coomer anime pics of schoolgirls on your Reddit, but you're against Coomer anime mods on the other websites. I think that there's a very big difference between portraying somebody. Like, if you don't understand the difference between an anime character that looks like an adult and an anime character that looks like a 12-year-old, that's not my problem. And stop trying to make it my problem. Every functioning normal adult in this chat knows exactly where the difference is. And nobody has trouble here, right? That has, like, figuring out where the two things are, right? We all get the difference, and you can see very clearly where the difference is. Yes. Let's be clear and stop assuming everybody understands your perspective. Do you guys understand exactly what I'm talking about? Let me ask you. Do you understand exactly what I'm talking about?
I didn't really understand his perspective completely. Like one of the guys said that there, or I'm assuming to be the same type of content on his Reddit, but is he's saying speaking out against it here? Which, if that be the case, I don't really know. I haven't done any research on it. If that be the case, then that is contradictory. But he's saying like the post that's made on his Reddit is like overage girls, like 18-year-olds. But it's like it's fake. They're not real. I just keep saying the same thing at this point. It's just, why does it matter? No one's going to be harmed by the making of these mods or the sexualization of these characters because they're not real. They're pixels.
Everybody understands it. Yes. Okay. That's what I thought. Yeah. So we all understand what's going on here.
There are common deflection techniques that Train uses whenever someone is critical of his sponsorship with Stake. He's able to avoid any sort of accountability by doubling down on everything, never apologizing, and creating an us versus them dynamic.
As I said, I mean, he and I have been friends for a long time. You know? Yeah. I can't think of, I can't think of anybody who thinks like that, man. There's only a few mentally ill people that are trying to play the intellectually dishonest game of, pretending like this isn't the case. As if teens in real life can't have well-endowed chests? Oh, sure, right? I mean, like, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that you want to, like... And this is again, where the internet logic goes away. And I'm going to explain exactly how it goes away. If you had a daughter that was like that, and she was 15, and a grown man said that to her, what would you do?
I don't understand why we keep bringing real life examples when we're talking about fictional characters. His whole argument here is that if you apply these rules to real life, but you can't because it's not real. It's like me saying, I like installing mods to kill characters. Like maybe, let's take the same game like Genshin, right? Where it's a mod where you get to kill the characters of Mondstadt, and even children as well. Kill the Renaissance, and there's a mod like that where it's like gory and all that. Do I think it should exist? Yes. Is it for everybody? No. Do I think it should exist? Yes. And do I think that yes, there should be some type of real life consequences because you like to see fictional characters killed? Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. It's like I don't get what he's saying here and why he keeps bringing up real life in this situation.
Would that make you comfortable, or would that make you want to call the police? So, again, this is internet ethics and internet morality that whenever you apply it to real life, immediately falls apart. Because nobody really believes these arguments. They just make them because they like talking and they like justifying bad behavior. And I
think that's disingenuous because they're not real. And if you think that you're just being intellectually dishonest because you think that there should be like censorship of this stuff when it's fake, I don't think that's true. I disagree 100%.
It's okay if you want to behave badly or do this stuff. It's not illegal, but at the same time, don't expect everybody else to think that it's conforming with normal values. It's not normal. How the heck are people arguing for the alternative? They're arguing for the alternative because they've spent their entire life on the internet and they forgot what it's like to be in the real world. You don't have to defend your weird ass fantasies because everyone has weird ass fantasies. Just don't bring them into real life. Yeah, well, don't try to justify them. I think
I agree with what the Redditor said. Don't bring them into real life because it's not real life. He says don't try to justify. It is justified if it's fake. Like who cares? Who cares what you do on a single player game? Two fake characters? I don't, and I don't think anyone should or should have the authority to say like, oh, you're a bad person. You're this, you're that because you do something in this fake environment. Like it's just crazy to me.
Images aren't of a real person, but it's still bad because it stimulated interest in things that aren't healthy. I don't understand why people use that argument. Like, obviously, I mean, should somebody go to jail for, like, having a mod like this for underage characters? Like, I don't know. Like, probably not. But, like, it's just like, isn't there like a gray area where everybody can say this is really fucked up and weird and just acknowledge it without saying this person needs to go to jail?
Yeah, you can say that. It doesn't mean it should be censored. Oh yeah, it could be fucked up and weird, but let them have their fun. It's like not harming anybody. It's specifically for them. If you don't like it, you don't have to download it. You don't have to play it. You don't have to engage with it.
Like maybe they don't have to go to jail, but it's clearly fucked up and weird. And about the mod that allows you to kill children in Skyrim, I mean, do we really have to just be honest here and say that killing things is a lot different than sexualizing them, especially whenever it's regarding kids?
What? Okay, I would think killing children would be a bigger issue than sexualizing them, because if you apply that to real life, it would be much worse, right? We're applying the logic to real life. What's the difference here? Like, if you're killing kids, wouldn't that be worse? Wouldn't that be more morally wrong? I'm not sure what you're saying here.
Like, if you lived in, do you exist in society? If you don't understand that nuance of our society, then you need to get off the computer. Because I think any normal person knows what the difference there is. These are the same people that are just okay accepting that they're fucked up and weird, which isn't okay. Well, no, I mean, people are always going to be fucked up and weird. It's totally fine if you want to be fucked up and weird. Just don't go and get me to try to accept it and tell you that you're a good person for it, right? That's what the difference is. Nexus mod is good for banning these mods then. I think that Nexus mods should not be... I don't think that they should be drawing lines on mods in terms of their political viewpoints. I don't think that this is a good idea, and I think it calls into question all of the other mods that are on their websites, and it goes to kind of like, because it creates a point of reference of them saying this isn't okay, but then obviously whenever you say one thing isn't okay, then people are clearly going to ask about all of the other things that are problematic and say, well, then why is this okay?
I completely agree with this point he's making, which is why I say it should be on the user to censor their own content. Then there would be no argument to be made. If you don't like it, you don't have to see it. Unless it's harmful to your computer, then, it should be deleted. Otherwise, and that's like what Twitter does, or X. You can pretty much post whatever you want. Well, I think you can get banned for some stuff, but there's a lot of stuff you can just find on Twitter. You can just say whatever you want for the most part without any censorship. And if you don't want to see it, you can delete the user, block them or whatever, and then you're fine.
And that's my point that I'm making. It's a failure of culture and mental health services. Yeah, I think it is. Mods that skip text and intro screens are super common, though. It's ridiculous. Yeah, no doubt. Normies in society think anime is borderline creepy. Well, one of the reasons why they think it's borderline creepy is that it has people in the community that are like some of the individuals in chat that are trying to defend it. Defend this weird stuff. Would peer review banned or banned on user report ban be banned by the website owner? Well, I think that really it should just be...
Well, when he said that, I don't think it's in need of defense. I just think you're attacking something that's not real. You're not defending the characters because they're not real. There's nothing to defend. You're getting mad at nothing. At people just doing whatever they want to do to pixels, programs. This stuff isn't real.
I think that they should let people do mods on whatever they want. Really. I mean, I think that's the smart thing to do. The only thing I think that they should not allow is mods that sexualize minors. That's literally the only thing that they should disallow. And I don't know, maybe there's one other thing that I'm not thinking of. But
why? Why should they not allow that? It's all fake in every situation. There is no nuance to be had here. In every situation, in any mod you download, it's all fake. So just don't download it and move on.
But everything else, they should just let people do whatever the fuck they want. Fair take. It's even weirder. Anime haters are just hating to hate. Well, I mean, I think that that's just people that have a different viewpoint on it. And also there are... I'm going to be real here. I think that there are a lot of anime fans that run defense for sexualizations of characters that they shouldn't be running defense for. I think that stuff is really weird. And just because you like anime, it doesn't mean that you have to defend that kind of anime. You can enjoy anime. I think anime is great. But I also think that some of it is really weird.
I would agree. Some of it is really weird. Do I think it shouldn't exist? No, I think it should exist. Because there's an audience for it. If there's an audience for it, it should exist. If you don't like it, don't watch it, especially if it's fake, is what I'm saying. Like, I'm not going to act like I'm the moral authority and just say what should and should not exist.
And there's even animes that I've watched that have had that in it. And I might have enjoyed the anime despite that. But that doesn't mean that, like, if somebody calls that out, I'm going to say, oh, yeah, this is a good thing. Huh? Well, I'll give you an example. Like, so I watched the Cyberpunk anime, and they had that little character, that Rebecca Lawley character that gave the guy a blowjob. She looks like she's 8 or 7 years old. That's weird. Like, I wish the story didn't have that. The story would have been.
I did watch Cyberpunk. I don't remember Rebecca giving anyone a blowjob. I may have just been. I have to go back and look at it because I don't remember that happening. Maybe it did, and I just flew over my head, but I don't remember that.
Better without having that. It's an anime. Yeah, it is. She's just small. She looks like a little kid. Yes, she does. She looks like a little kid. I'm sorry, guys, but I mean, she does. And if guys, I don't want to go and argue about this one character, okay? Like, I'm not going to go back and forth about this. If you don't think that she does, that's fine. We can use 50 other examples that are worse, right? So, but I'm just giving you an example of something that I saw in the show that I'm making an example of. It's a line that I have. Obviously, every line is kind of the same, or is going to be different for everybody, but, isn't the same. The point of it was to make her look like a little kid because lots of weirdos get off on that shit. And that's really what the problem is. And I think that more people that are fans of anime should probably stop trying to defend this kind of stuff. Because I think that's really what's going on here. Is that I think that they're clearly doing it on purpose. I do. I think it is that simple. Japan historically has a big problem with minors being sexualized. Japan's sick for a lot of stuff. I don't think that's a problem with Japan. I think that if you go, I would say far enough back, but you really don't have to go very far back. You would see that this has been a problem for a lot of places in the world, including America. Like, this is...
Yeah, I would agree. Like, back in the day, that was like the thing. It's what, if you go far enough back, it was like, okay, that was like, you sought after basically kids, like 12 and up. Like, after you had your cycle or whatever, you were sexualized. You were sent off to be married. Things were done to you that shouldn't be named and stuff like that. But does that make it right? No, absolutely not. Especially, this is like real life examples though. And I would say a lot of the actions that were done back then are looked at as being wrong. And it is, but that was real life. This is not.
It's a problem everywhere. I don't think Japan has a monopoly on that. Fuck, like everywhere does this shit. Like Africa does this. I mean, I remember even my mom, like, she said that growing up, and this is in like growing up in the deep South Florida, people around in like where she lived had a saying, get her young and raise her up right. About getting a wife. Yeah. So no, Japan doesn't have a monopoly on this. Howard Stern did a countdown timer on like when the Olsen twins were going to turn 18. And that was like, what, 15 years ago? Something like that? That's what I'm saying.